should probably like sit on a pillow or something. Or do I seem low to you, or am I okay?
No, I think you're fine. And now you're moving around, and now I've just started a live video. So just FYI. Hold on. So I am doing it like a description here. All right. So yeah. So most ghetto setups and situations. Fantastic technical fail today, but that's why you're a florist and I'm an event planner, and we're not writing code in the back of some data center out in Virginia.
I'm not a techie at all. So give me anything to do with flowers and I can do it, but tech stuff freaks me out all the time.
Oh my God. Oh, so hold on. So this is yeah, so I'm kind of curious, like, if anyone's going to tune in at this point in time, because we've already been through several fails. But it's all right. I mean, this is just one of, a bunch of things that we're going to be doing going forward. But all right, so let's start. I mean, so the first question, the reason that I put this together to begin with was to just get a sense of, like, how are you? Like, you and I have been having a lot of private conversations. There are a lot of sort of like industry conversations happening right now about how people are and how people are sort of getting through this. But I don't think, like, the general, like, unless you're tuned into that, unless you're really involved with these things, generally, I'm not talking to anybody else. You know what I'm saying? Like, friends and family. That's who I'm talking to. So how are you doing?
I mean, personally, I'm doing great. My family's doing great. We're all healthy. But I think we're all struggling. And actually, all of my floral friends, we all talk. We are so used to a fast-paced schedule and, always something happening. I mean, I'm not just a wedding florist. I do a ton of corporate. So we can walk into 50 centerpieces, 100 centerpieces going out on any given day. And to not have that now is kind of, how do I want to say it, frustrating, depressing, all of the above. We're used to working with flowers every single day. There's just nothing here to play with. I mean, if you have a yard and you go out and pick some flowers, that's great. I'm in a fairly new build and I don't have any flowers out there yet. So I have a couple little pansies and I was like, well, what do I do? Pick a pansy bloom that's going to last a day? So that's where I think so many of us are struggling. Finding your product. The floral industry falls under agriculture, but some of our suppliers are having a really hard time even just getting the how do I want to say it, the authority, to open up. And some of them are carrying flowers and it's very limited. And then you have to go pick them up, whether you're going to Pennsylvania or you're going to Silver Spring or you're going to DC, there's places in New Jersey. So like a lot of the Jersey trucks can't come into Maryland unless you're quarantined for 14 days. So you can't have that person come and deliver to you. But technically, if we go up to Jersey to pick up, then we're quarantined for 14 days. It's a really weird market and really weird, what's going on right now.
And yet, like 2 days ago, I was at Trader Joe's picking up a dozen eggs, and I saw like a load of flowers. Like, there were bunches of flowers. And I thought of you when I saw that, because I was like, so quick intro for those of you who are out there watching. This is Janet Flowers. She's the owner of Nature of Design up here in Maryland, and I'm who I am. I was looking at these flowers, and they all looked fresh. Nothing looked like it had been on the truck for several days. It looked good, and I'm like, where the hell did this stuff come from? Because I know you're having a hard time getting a hold of product.
Right.
Where's there? Yeah.
Because, see, that falls into agriculture and groceries. Okay. So the shippers are able to ship direct to them, or some of our suppliers have those accounts. So they're able to ship that because basically it's coming from South America, coming from Holland, or, coming somewhere that's already pre-bunched and ready for them. So they just open a box. So the box delivers to them. And most of the time right now it's going direct. There may be Trader Joe's might have a distribution warehouse, so it's pulling into the distribution warehouse, and then the box alone is going straight to the grocery store. They don't want to have a lot of touching. You don't want to be packing a lot of things, touching a lot of things, so there's no spread of the virus. So that's where you're seeing, like, the grocery stores fall under agriculture. That's how grocery stores are open. That's how they're surviving. Whereas the average florist, we're watching I belong to a lot of florist Facebook groups. So some of them are like, look, it's me in the store. I'm designing myself. I'm, washing everything down. I have gloves on as I'm designing. They're trying to stay as clean as can be, and then delivering it to a no contact delivery. And most of the time we take something to a door, we call them and tell them on your doorstep it's a flower, please feel free. People love getting flowers. It's just the process of us trying to get them out.
Well, and you had a funeral last week, right? That you delivered to, like somebody who died from COVID.
It actually wasn't. It was a very, very, very unfortunate situation where.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Was murdered. So, how do you not bring something to someone going through something so devastating? The coronavirus is enough to be devastated by, but to know that your child's been murdered was just absolutely horrific. So I actually could only get flowers through a local farm, and I spoke to the farmer in the morning. She picked flowers that day, and I was able to, she had everything out on the porch, and she said, pick what you want. I had gloves on. She had gloves on. We kept our 6 feet apart, so that I could get anything that I needed. And then I went and made them in my warehouse all by myself, so there was nobody around, the social distancing did take place. But it is a challenge for us, to bring staff in, to keep everybody 6 feet away from you, it's, don't touch that, don't, you're just worried. None of us want to spread the virus at all. And so.
Well, and how does that work? Like, I mean, she kept her gloves off, but obviously, like, those plants have been growing. Like, does the virus remain on plant life? Or, I don't even know how that works.
I haven't heard that, but if you look at plant life is no different than our groceries.
Okay.
Do you know what I mean? So you could go to the grocery store, get fresh vegetables. Yes, they're coming home and washing fresh vegetables. I mean, I haven't thought of to wash the flowers off. Most of the time, anyway, at the farm level, when I've been to the people are already gloved.
Okay.
They all are.
Yeah.
So as they're packing and prepping anything, they've always got gloves on.
Just as like a general rule.
Yeah, this is in South America. When I've been to the farms in South America and in Holland, and both of them do have gloves on as they're handling the flowers.
Okay.
So that would be in there. Again, if someone touches their face or does anything, I don't know on the farm level if they're putting masks on. It's something that I can call and find out. But it's just a challenge to get flowers. Now, there's a lot of people that are, Go American grown, and there's a lot of shippers in the United States that are shipping FedEx across the board here. So it might be something that we have to do, like Easter and Passover this week.
Yeah.
So you've got that going on, and there are florists that are delivering. In fact, we had a call today where we delivering. It's hard for me. I have to go by bunches. My roses come in 25s. Most of our flowers are in 25s or a bunch. So for me to make a $50 arrangement, it wasn't worth it for me to go buy $250 worth of flowers to make one $50 arrangement.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking of maybe even doing was having something for Mother's Day where we'll take pre-booked orders so that I know my flowers are sold. And, if you have a little bit of extra for an add-on here or there, that's something that could work. It's something to really think about. We were actually going to put out like a Facebook and an Instagram feeler. Would you be willing and to purchase Mother's Day flowers? We don't know what the average person is going to say. We are seeing some garden centers open up. Virginia is more accepting of the garden centers being open and you gardening. In Maryland, it's been frowned upon. Which is really hard because it's something that gives joy to people to be out in their garden and planting. And, we're still early. It's only April, where usually it's the second week of May is when they suggest we lose the frost in this area.
Right.
So, you'll see maybe a lot more will change. Maybe we'll see the curve go down, so it won't be as bad and our industry won't be as affected because if you're taking away in Maryland don't plant your plants, don't have flowers, only at the grocery store because they fall under the agriculture, it's really going to be detrimental to our side of the industry and your local farms. Even the farms that I talked to, they said they don't know whether to really let the crops go for the spring and focus mainly on the fall, do their plantings for the fall and know that it's going to be a heavy fall, with flowers. They don't know. I mean, a lot of them do, 6 to 8 farmers markets in a week, and now I know there's just one left that's open, so that's a big difference too.
Yeah, I mean, it's a hard one because you don't know, because it's just the uncertainty of it all, right? It's like you don't know, like, do I trash the crops? Do I saw one video of someone in South America where they were just shredding the roses, and that's the part I guess I didn't necessarily understand. I'm like, okay, you're not going to necessarily sell the roses, but then why preemptively trash some of your harvest, your growth? What's the benefit in that?
Okay, well, what happens, basically a rose takes 6 weeks to grow on the plant, 6 to 8 weeks in prime weather conditions. So they're looking now, if they were trashing it in mid-March, then they're going to be okay for May. Do you know what I mean? So
they could start a new cycle is what we're saying.
They're trying to get rid of whatever's on the plant, push the plant to produce, and it should be nice weather down here right now. It's just like us, it's spring.
Okay.
So that's one of the things that I would assume. I watched a farm cut down all the hydrangeas. It was making me ill, watching this because everything's being, it's destroyed.
Oh.
And you're like, oh my gosh, pretty flowers. And even in Holland, I don't know if anybody's seen what's going on. I mean, they are dumping thousands and thousands of stems, probably millions of stems of flowers. When you look at, I think the highest count one day went to 72% of their product was trashed. Wow. That is absolutely incredible. And now the Holland, just the airfare alone to get the product to here has tripled. Just your freight alone.
Okay.
So that, caused huge impact on the pricing there. Now in South America, we haven't seen that yet, and we've seen some pretty decent pricing on flowers, for the moment, because everybody's stuck and they're trying to get rid of in this time. But we don't know what's going to happen when this returns. They're going to look at it and go, well, I just lost all this money, so now I'm going to charge 3 times as much as I normally do just to make up for what I lost. We don't know if that's going to be the mindset, or like when the housing industry really affected us in 2009, the farms took a hit too, but not like this. I mean, this is worldwide. It isn't just one area that's got an issue. So it's very, very unknown what our market is going to be. And that's got us all nervous. Another florist quoted, they said, I'm afraid the average $200 arrangement the average $200 arrangement right now might be what our $100 arrangement is, for the future. So,
well, because it's really hard it's really hard because now you've got, you not only have all these brides from this year rebooking for next year, so that pricing's completely, who the hell knows what's happening there.
Right.
You have those clients who were secured you for 2021, paid for 2021, and now even that is up in the air because you don't know if even their weddings and events are going to be priced accordingly. Priced according to what current pricing is. So you could even be double cost on that.
Well, we've all had to put new contracts together for anyone that has changed their wedding. Just say that we're going to, I worded it as though I'm very good at figuring out the market and, I'm good at judging and estimating. But right. At this point, I'm not. This is uncharted territory for all of us. So, we will discuss 6 weeks prior to your wedding. And for anyone that has pushed their wedding to 2021, we'll discuss in February. So we'll be able to see how the market's moving, and by no means do we want to gouge anyone. We're not out to do that, but we have to be profitable. We have to be a smart business person.
Right.
Two of the things I correlated to is that, at the grocery store, if, you heard the lettuce, there's a problem with the lettuce, and now the lettuce that was acceptable, is now higher priced. or the tomato crop went bad, or the strawberries froze, or the oranges froze, so you're paying an escalated price. And no one, everybody might be like, oh, it's so high, but if you want them, you buy them.
Right.
And then for gasoline, I tried to use this as, a barrel of gasoline might be $100. Well, okay, next week it's $200. And the gas station guy doesn't look at you and say, oh my gosh, everyone's been through so much, I'm not going to raise my price. He can't afford to not raise his price and be in business. So it's, we're looking to take care of our clients and be there for them 100%. But you've got to understand, we're a commodity market. Our pricing changes all the time. So it's really, really important, to work closely with our clients and the planners that are involved, to really help guide their client to, like, look, this is a perishable item. It's also like, what if all of a sudden there's no salmon or there's no halibut or, whatever. So it's like your plan B, going to something else. So, that's something as we move along, we're going to have to see, just how it goes, and hopefully, everybody will say, okay, everybody has been through a lot. There's no reason to put, double my price or triple my price, which would be wonderful. Because like I said, we don't want to take a hit. We don't want our clients to take a hit, but we all have to survive.
Well, and how many people, did you find that like, have you had a huge cancellation, or is just for the most part, everybody's just rebooking?
I have had 100% of my brides rebook.
Oh, that's fabulous.
Yeah. As for corporate's just a little bit different because, anything booked, canceled to we don't know when the date's going to be because, one of the things, this is an election year for DC, so our hotels are full.
Yeah.
Fall.
Yeah.
And then you've got January, so it's even full. So
those dates are gone. I mean, that's it. The dates are gone.
Right. So they can't have their conference. If they have a 4-day conference, a 5-day conference, they're going to be lucky to find, 3 or 4 or 5 days together that would fit the size of their groups. So they may not come back till 2021. Now, I do a lot of repeat corporate business, so I know my clients will come back to me. It's just that this is lost revenue, the spring. And I was having a phenomenal spring. So it's really hard, what is that number? Because I have clients, that I work with all the time, every week. And there's a lot of times the work comes in on Friday for the next week. And I never know what that's going to be. So, looking at my numbers from last year, like I said, this is a lot of money I lost, a lot.
Yeah.
Moving, it's great to move your event, and we are so appreciative of everyone working that way. But that's no income in my pocket.
Yeah, and they're moving it prospectively, no, well, I shouldn't say prospectively, objectively to a date that you probably wanted to book other new business on. Yeah. And that's kind of what I said, in my business, yes, all of my clients have rebooked, but some of them are now wanting to rebook where now I have to turn away other business because I've had to rebook. I have to honor my contracts that I have. I can't take on anything new for the time frame. So that's a little bit of a, headache.
Well, for us, we can do more than one wedding.
Yeah.
Do I want to do 10 weddings on a weekend? Absolutely not. I want my brides to feel as though they're getting the attention that they deserve. I know I was on the phone with one of my floral friends in New York, and she had 2 brides called her and said, hey, are you available this date? What she didn't realize, and these were 2 weddings on separate days that she had booked for 2020, and they're moving to 2021, and they both picked the same day. Oof. And when she looked at her calendar, when the one called and said, oh, okay, I'm free that day, and then the next one called, the next day or whatever, and she said, oh, yeah, I'm free that day, because she didn't pencil the other one in, because everybody's calling saying, hey, can you work this day? Does it work? And now she's got 2 big weddings on the same day. She says within an hour of each other, they both came in saying, like 3 or 4 days later, hey, this day works, because they're trying to juggle to see when you meet. Now she's like, oh my gosh, these are 2 big ones. What am I going to do? So to me, my advice to her was hire the people right now. Get your freelancers, get someone that can support that, be the lead on one of them. You go to the biggest one, and the other thing is they're in 2 different areas, 2 hours away from each other. So it's not like you can float to one and go to another. as sometimes if I do multiple.
Or you can get like a team A and team B, and then bop back and forth. Yeah.
What I oftentimes do.
Sure.
It's great if it's in DC, but DC to Baltimore or DC to Pennsylvania or deep in Virginia, that's not always easy to do.
Yeah.
So, it's going to take a lot of planning on our part, and securing the freelancers that work for all of us, and having good teams put together that can go out, manage a job, and move forward that way. So we're all going to be looking, how can we make up the money? But like I said, I'm hoping this fall is wonderful because we do have an election year and the city will be hopping, and then we have a bonus in January with inauguration. So, fingers crossed for all of that.
Well, so what kind of business have you done in previous inaugural year or previous election years? What does that look like for you normally? Or does it make it, is it vary depending on who's running and all that fun stuff?
Well, if you're the first year in, for the president, it's usually very large, and we do a lot of events. I can do up to, the one year we did the most, and I can't remember who it was for, 36 events in 48 hours.
Wow.
I had about 8 trucks on the road, and it was just a well-oiled machine. I tend to be super, super organized, and having that many is like, okay, here's all the flowers, here's everything's color-coded and grouped and bucketed and in the fridge in a certain way, and recipes are made, and I always have like a binder list thick of, every event. It's called Janet's Book of God.
Nice.
So we have that, and just go from that. And that's why for me to have to sit idle like this is driving me crazy, because I like the action, the activity. The busier we are, the more I thrive. Sitting at home, it's like, oh, now what do I do?
But can you imagine, like, now you have that puppy, and had you been so busy up until, like, had you had the springtime that you thought you were going to have, you just would have never been able to, what would have happened? You would have never been able to watch the dog.
Well, I'm lucky my staff likes puppies and dogs.
Yeah. Oh, so you'd have to bring her with you.
Oh yeah. I have.
Where is she, by the way?
I'm set up in the warehouse, like a little playpen kind of thing. Great. It's not like a crate because it's open at the top, but it's like a little area that would contain her. But she's going to be big, so who knows if she'll hop over it? I don't know. We would work it out because there's always, I can take a break and walk outside, and now we sit on 9 acres, and in the springtime or this early summer, we can have the bay doors open so they can be in and out. This was always a little bit quieter, time. We would have been in high gear right now. Would have had a couple big weddings already, but we just make it work because I always have Berkeley with me. Yeah. So it's just little Miss Rambunctious, who's actually asleep right now, or I'd show everybody to show you.
I was about to say, I'm like, she's not. I'm surprised, like, she didn't try to get in on this video action up until.
She's being really good. She's sleeping, but like I said, I already walked her like 3 times today, played the frisbee, and fed her, gave her treats to behave, let her chew on a bone. So she really is not as bad as you make it out to, or I can make it out to seem sometimes. It's just that I'm not used to that. It's like having a toddler again, and it's like my baby's 27 now, so it's like going back to diapers,
Yeah, it's like not the grandbaby you envisioned. You're like, oh my goodness. But what's going to happen to her? Are you going to keep her to adulthood, or are you going to keep her until she's adoptable, or what are you going to do?
This is the dog that's supposed to go to California to be with James.
Okay.
And we just haven't been able to get her. The cruise that were there was a group of people that were driving to California, and she was going to go in their car.
Oh.
They were going to take her across the country. So, unfortunately, nobody's traveling right now because of the coronavirus. So, it's either going to go to James, or I think I have a new baby.
Poor Berkeley.
Oh, it's been interesting. They're almost nose to nose right now, which is
cute.
He kind of moved that way, so this is good. They've been butt to butt. They've been snuggled up together different times. Like every day, it's like, oh, okay,
All they need is like one good cold night to fix all of that, and then be like, oh.
She tried to get close to him 2 nights ago, and he wanted no part. She got to sleep in the bed the night before, but then 2 nights ago it was like, don't even think about it. So I just moved her, pillows and beds close to her.
Right.
And then she kind of lays there. So he escapes during the middle of the night. He'll go out of the room. He knows how to get out. She doesn't know how to get out yet. So
I still have to figure out like how he managed to get food off. He's a little dachshund. How do you get food off a counter?
Not a counter, but a table.
Okay.
Like when you have big dogs can put their head right on the table.
Sure.
And, there it is, and it's fair game.
Right.
As far as I'm concerned, don't leave food because that can just happen. So I realized early on, little sneaky Pete here will figure out how to get up onto the chair, and then his chair, he looks up onto the table and gets things. But he definitely did for 14 years old, he did some major jumping yesterday and got that bag of food down that he looked like a little barrel with wheels on him, with legs on him. It was insane yesterday. I was so upset and so mad at him. I was like, oh, and he knew the minute I opened the door, and I was like, oh, you stinker. He is just.
He's like, haha.
Yeah. Oh, he gets into trouble. Trust me. All the time.
Oh, so at least you have them to keep you like entertained, right? So it's not, at least it's not like you and the TV and then you and the TV and the sofa.
Oh yeah.
And and wine.
I watched Hallmark. I watched HGTV yesterday of all these houses being taken apart and put together, and I was like, oh, I kind of like that idea. So I was like, oh, I have lots of ideas for my warehouse. So, all of that was supposed to take place, coming up March, April, all the the construction, but now there's no money to do that, and it'll be when it'll be.
It'll be what it'll be. I mean,
maybe 2021. And it's okay. It's going to be, we'll survive. And I mean, we're strong enough to get through. I feel like I feel good and positive about the fall and about, we've got inauguration to really help out.
But how about other areas? I mean, we're fortunate in DC that we have that like on our horizon where, where a lot of like caterers and florists and production will not be going under because of that. Because if you can hold off at least until the fall, then you at least know you have all those events coming through. But how, have you been talking to like other people who are in other areas? Like, have you seen a lot of florists who are just like giving up and closing shop, or what's going on?
Oh, actually, we've seen some growers, 2 California growers. One was an amazing rose grower. She had all kinds of things. She's been in business for over 22 years, and she had a problem with getting water to her property when all the fires were going on because they were shutting her off. So she lost a lot of money in that. And then, when this happened, she's like, that's it. I'm done. I'm tired. When you're fighting all the time against all odds, it just, you get to a point where it's like, I'm done. So when she announced they were closing, listen to this. People came to rally behind wholesalers, just people that bought direct. Her employees, which she laid off, came back to work for free. They volunteered their time. So
that's amazing.
To try to save her crops. Yeah. So it's, when you talked about why are they cutting the crops down, because they can't maintain them. And then everything goes bad. So it's better to just cut them down. So she was really, ecstatic that everybody was like, we'll stand behind you and we'll all get through this. So, and in the beginning, it wasn't, a lot of the loans weren't talked about, or the support that might be out there. So, that was a problem. But another grower, huge grower, been around forever and ever, and they grow stock. I don't want to say their names or anything. I don't want to throw anybody out there, but
because things change, you don't want to, right.
I don't know for sure. It's all hearsay.
Right.
I haven't heard any.
Until they put out some sort of official announcement. Yeah.
So, but to hear that they closed their doors last week, and I said, did they just close their doors temporarily, or did they he goes, no, they closed their doors. And I was like, ugh. And that was beautiful California products. So it is hard, and making a living in the flower business is hard. It's not what it used to be. And, when you really think about fuel costs more, people cost more, the harvesting costs more, shipping costs more. So there's so many parameters, for everyone. You've got boxes and just everything that you have to pay for, so it's a lot. So it's a big strain on everyone. And it's perishable. It's a perishable product. And like I said, the food industry isn't feeling it because everyone's going to eat.
Yeah.
But is everybody going to bring a bouquet of flowers home? I would love that. Love that. They make you smile. They make you happy. I think on one of my Facebook posts, I was like, get your prescription, and it was like, causes a smile, makes you happy.
Right.
Brightens your day, beware, like of all these things.
Well, and I've seen like other florists put together these sort of like little kits that they sell to families where like the kids can build their own bouquets. So it becomes sort of like just an activity where I think there's someone out in Virginia that does that, where she'll like, you can buy a bouquet per child and you get all the materials, and then she puts on a class that will tell the children how to make the arrangements or something like that. So it becomes like a tutorial.
I think that's wonderful. I'm not an everyday shop. I believe the people that are doing it, and I've seen things across the country too.
Or everyday shops.
It's everyday shops, where they have, 1,000 people, 2,000, 5,000, 20,000 people in their database.
Gotcha.
And that's great. Whereas an event florist, I don't really have that. I'm doing events.
Right.
And doing it. I think it's a great project. Great things for kids. Just a simple product. I saw one florist that actually took a solo cup, which was really cute, and she gave them away for free to her clients, which was absolutely fabulous. So she said, people have supported her through the years. She's going to support the families in the area. So she actually put them in a brown bag, and it was a polka dotted solo cup. And she gave them a little Ziploc bag of soil, and she gave them a pack of seeds, and I think it was just soil, seeds, and the cup to put it in, and it was so cute. I was like, oh my gosh, but at the time, like, I can't even do that.
Right.
I mean, we were going to have our Dancing with the Daffodils last Tuesday.
Yeah, your photo shoot.
Our photo shoot, which was a lot of people wanted to come, and as we were talking to people, and here's a part of the industry that you don't think about, but the bridal gowns. Okay,
yeah.
So now the bridal shops, the bridal salons don't know when they're going to get shipments of dresses.
Yeah,
and a lot of things are coming from China, or all over the world, the fabrics. So they didn't know when shipping could happen. So they were like, we really can't give you the dresses because we have to keep our inventory, because we don't know if we're going to have to modify a dress for one of our brides that we can't get their dress for.
Right.
So, no one realizes the impact and every little thing, the intricacies in every business. We don't know, and people don't think, how can I support someone? How can I help them? Now, I know Love Couture Bridal is doing, she's making masks now. They're around the clock making masks.
It's something. It's helpful. I mean, anything to help out.
Yeah. So it's been really great. And then, like, supporting. I have another friend whose husband was a personal training, and so he had a whole slew of clients. Well, obviously he can't go to the clients, and he had a lot of elderly clients. He did a lot with the what do I call it? Physical therapy side of it too.
Gotcha.
Exercising about physical therapy.
Yeah.
So he, a lot of them are. I mean, it's dangerous for them to be around anyone. So he started doing a Zoom, personal training.
Yeah.
And one of the things that we were discussing is that she's like, I'm the only person in the group that has lost all of our income. Not only my business, but my husband's business is impacted. And all of our friends, they're all complaining, they're home, trying to do their work, getting a paycheck, might add, and taking care of homeschooling their children. And it's like, okay, well, now throw into the mix, no paycheck. You're stressing, you're at home, and you're worried about putting food on your table. And absolutely none of us want a handout.
Right.
We want to work. We
right.
want to work for, like, help us. So how can you help us? if you want to say to me, what can you do? Okay, you know what? I'm going to bring in Mother's Day flowers. Help me. Buy a bouquet. We'll get it delivered to your mom, or your spouse or whatever, for the personal training, hire him for an hour or whatever, or do it once a week, twice a week. Do you know anybody that could do that? Help them. We don't want somebody to hand us $100 bill. Although I will tell you this, is that I had someone, this is crazy, like, because I don't think of myself as destitute or anything.
Right.
But we did the bouquets, raising money for Blessings in a Backpack. And the gentleman came to pick up 2 bouquets, and he said to me, he goes, Johnny, I know your industry was impacted. He gave me a $50 bill.
Fabulous.
Not something I expected. And I was like, oh, well, do you want 2 more bouquets? And he's like, no. He goes, I want you to take that for you. And I gave him a hug, even though I wasn't supposed to, but, I knew him. But it just really was heartwarming to me that someone thought of me, and what I'm going with. And then it's funny because I was talking to my girlfriend, I was like, well, I don't have a lot, but I have food in my house, and if someone really is hungry and needs a meal, I'll do that. And she's like, oh my gosh, you have no income coming in, and you're willing to go make a meal for someone who might not have anything. And I said, there's always going to be somebody worse off than you.
Yeah.
And in my heart of hearts, I'm going to get through this.
Right.
So it's who I am and what I do. I don't know how to do it any other way. I can't imagine saying, I'm going to hoard all this stuff. If I know there's a family out there with 4 kids and they don't have, extra snacks or whatever, my goodness, I'll bake a couple cookies. That way I only have to keep 6. And I give that away.
Bake a couple dozen, keeps, skim a little bit off the top, but it's all good. It's all fair game after that. But
you've got to, I just have always been a giving person and just do. So like I said, staying home, even though I have the puppies to keep me kind of busy, but I'd much rather be doing something. But I will tell you this, even the farm that I went to, to go pick up the flowers from, she's like, we can't even afford our staff to come back to help.
Right.
And I was like, well, I have a horticulture background and we had greenhouses. So I said, as long as we can stay socially distant, it's her and her husband on the farm. I said, just show me what you want done, and I know how to do it. I said, I'll volunteer. It'll get me out of the house and doing something.
Right.
I mean, I will never, ever put myself at risk in anything or put anyone else at risk. I mean, that's utmost important is our health.
Yeah.
And, not catching this virus. So, planting out in the fields, I don't have a problem with that, being outside.
At this point in time, I think a lot of people just are discovering gardening, walking in the park. I mean, I have tried to get out on trails that now normally the trails that I go to, it's like me on 100 acres and there might be another 3 people on a good day. But like for the last couple of weeks, like every time, I drive past, and if I see more than like 20 people in the parking lot, then I turn around and I come back at another time. When I know that it's going to be, just less occupied. But it's kind of nice to see people discovering parks and discovering, outdoor activities again. But it's also a little bit like, you're in my space. So it's that balancing act. Like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah, I'm very fortunate where I live. I live on 2 acres. Plus, behind me is all woods and trails. So I tend to, I could go there. There's nobody out there. In fact, yesterday there was 22 deer. I was like,
no fear. The deer. I'm waiting for reports of coyotes and wolves and all of those things to come back. Back in, have you heard about all these wildlife coming into the cities and they're looking for humans? They're like, what happened to all the humans? We don't understand.
Right. No, it's crazy, but even on the farm, I was like, I do chalk painting, Annie Sloan chalk paint. So I have some furniture that I haven't been able to finish. So it's like, well,
now you got the time.
I'm gonna go up. I'm gonna do that. I have to be honest. When we, had the donation day for Blessings in a Backpack, we just grabbed everything and left, and kind of left the warehouse that has all the flowers in it, kind of like a lot of empty buckets and things. So I can go up there, empty the buckets, clean things. When we have 60 and 70 degree temperatures, it's great. I can have the door open. Like I said, the pups can run. Yeah. It's not a problem. There's nobody around there. And it will be good. But, I'm going to do some painting. I'm going to do, cleaning up. It's a new norm now, but I know that up there on 9 acres, there's nobody there but me. So.
Well, that was such a fortunate move for you, because it's like you moved into this larger space, but it was like you tripled your space for half the rent, or something like that. So now you've got, you reduced your expenses right just before everything hit the fan. So that was huge. But now you have all this space to like do all these, crafts and activities.
Right.
Well,
the one thing is I wanted to, put a lot of plantings in. Like this year was going to be hydrangeas, forsythias, cherry blossoms, peonies, all of that was going to go in. And now, there's no money for it. So
right. Well,
again, next year, or maybe in the fall we'll be able to plant some things. We'll see how this season goes and, go from there. But it's, and I'm going to have, Dancing with the Daffodils next March. So
that's the beauty of it, is, the circle of life. It'll all grow. It'll all come back. It's just going to be a really interesting time going forward. But I'm glad to hear that, I'm glad to hear that everything is sort of settled. I think, I know that there was a lot of uncertainty in those first couple of weeks, especially. Like no one knew anything about, what was going on or how to respond or, what the proper procedure is.
Everything changes daily.
Yeah.
Really, it changes daily. I know that the one wholesaler in Pennsylvania is trying to get the agriculture certificate. They used to be growers and they stopped growing, so they didn't renew their permit or whatever it is. So she's having a really hard time, trying to make that happen. So, everybody's facing something in our industry, whatever part of the wedding industry you're in. And even if it's more events, like I know I've spoken with photo booth people and people that do entertainment, not necessarily music, but your actors and, anybody that goes out and they're like, we might be the last one on the list. So, it's frightening. It's frightening to all of us, to be honest. It's unknown. None of us have been idle for this long. I'm not liking this.
Right. It's just like, everybody complains about not having downtime, but when you have the downtime, now you're forced to have the downtime.
I know, when we have the downtime with no money. I always say, when you have
That's true. Downtime, but with money.
And then when you have the money, you don't have the time.
Yeah.
So it's,
the story of life, the story of small business. That's for sure.
I don't think anybody's traveling anywhere right now anyway. So, I actually, today was a day I was leaving for Florida. I was going to Fort Lauderdale. Oh. And, so I was like, nope, have to, change my plans. And
that's not
thank
happen.
goodness. I took the insurance, but I didn't even have to use the insurance because the airlines gave me 100% credit, and I have to use it within 8 months. So,
okay. All right.
I was away right before Easter, and I was like, well, we're always slow that week, so I'm going to sneak away.
Yeah.
So, but even the place that I was going to stay, it was with my girlfriend, and her dad lives down there, but nobody is allowed to enter the complex unless you live there.
They're turning cars away at the border, the Floridian border, as they should.
I think so.
Yeah.
And I know that the other day, Governor Hogan changed in Maryland. I think it was last Monday. Everything was 8 o'clock at night. We were more on house. I'm going to call it house arrest, but house quarantine. And a friend of mine works on helicopters and works on state police helicopters. So his job is essential. He had to go, and he drives from the Eastern Shore over into Delaware. And as he drove into Delaware, as he was coming home, when he went to work, he was stopped by the state police and asked, "Where are you going? What are you doing?" And he did see there was like 3 lines, and some of them were telling this one woman to go home. You don't belong out, go home.
Right.
Go back home. You don't belong. So they turned her around. But on the way home, he was sharing with me that basically there were 3 cars from Jersey. Now, at that point, New York, New Jersey, and Connecticut were told that they do not travel without, away from your state. They were flying down 301, heading down to the beach, which I heard Ocean City was closed, but Delaware beaches were still accepting people, which was absolutely chaotic and crazy.
Yeah.
Where were the police then?
Right.
They should have stopped. Of course, they're probably afraid of the coronavirus, and they don't want to catch it,
right?
Because more and more people are catching it,
right?
And they're law enforcement or fire and EMTs, and they're on the front lines. And we've got to give credit to these people. They've got a much harder job than we do.
Yeah, exactly.
They have a much harder job.
If all we have to do, if all we do is, stay put, then we're doing pretty good.
Yeah.
We're doing pretty well.
Yeah.
Well.
Looking for my woods and my walks. I don't know about this.
I know. I know. It's going to be, it'll be interesting to see what the next couple of weeks brings, but, that's, we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Well, I think it's the smartest decision, to really shut us down and to quarantine everyone, because it is spreading so rapidly. I mean, you look at what happened in New York, and that's a scary situation.
Yeah.
I mean, I think every day, I'm not in New York City.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'd be petrified to go out.
Yeah, I've been talking to all my friends, and it's been like, people just, you do what you need to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, you go out only for, groceries, and, you stay your ass home if not. So.
Yeah. I mean, I pull into a grocery store parking lot. If there's too many cars or there's a line outside, I turn around.
Yep.
And I haven't been in like 2 weeks, and I need to go. And I'm dreading it. It's like, okay, what time should I go? Where should I go? I'm almost afraid in Montgomery County because that's got the highest cases. Yeah. So I actually will drive up to Frederick where it's more quiet.
It's going to be quiet. It's going to be quieter, and, it's going to be, it's just going to be better. Although I will say that the Wegmans have been better stocked. The one time that I went out to a Wegmans, and then I haven't been back to a Wegmans, but I've heard that they retain a really good stock level. So
yeah, there's one in Frederick, and that's the one I like to go to. Nice. I'll sneak in, but at any point in time, I've been there as early as 7:00 in the morning, to getting off of work at 5:00, and that place is always packed and busy. And at first, I wore gloves and, the disinfectant of everything was there, but now they're wiping down the carts as you walk in. And then, you have the tape and you have everything and you have to wait online to get in. And it's like, I mean, safety is everything at this point. And I know I had friends who are like, well, just go to Costco or just go to Sam's Club. And I'm like, are you crazy?
Yeah, I know.
In there? Like, no.
Just no. Like, unless you have to go, like, unless you really, really need to, like, look, if I had 3 kids at home and I needed to, I needed things in bulk quantities that way, then yes, then that's exactly what I would do. But I don't. So I'm just, I'll be all right. I'll be all right with whatever Giant has or Trader Joe's or whatever.
Well, I eat a lot of fresh fruit and vegetables, and I'm out of everything, and it's driving me crazy.
Yeah, I think I'm down to spinach and mushrooms. That's always in my fridge, so I'm down to spinach and mushrooms.
I don't even have that. I have celery.
You have celery? Nice. Peanut butter? Celery and peanut butter. That's all you need in life.
Celery's not looking so good right now. I think I have some carrots in there. That's about it right now. It's like, so. Who knows? But I've been eating good.
Yeah, exactly. We've all been sort of being healthy about it, at least. Hopefully people are being healthy about it, but it's all right.
Well, it's very easy.
It's all right. It's all good.
No, but I made brownies, and I was like, thank goodness it wasn't a big yield. It was a smaller bag.
Yeah.
Because it was really easy to eat those last week. Well, this looks good. Oh, okay, I'll have another one of those. Oh, I had another one. I'm like, oh wait, I can't bake.
Exactly.
I can't do this. That's why I said if a family needs cookies, I'll make them. Just keep home 6.
Yeah. That's all. I just want to keep 6. You keep the rest of them. It's all good.
Yeah.
My goodness.
Yeah, because the kids will burn out the energy. I look at I was lucky when I was raising my children because we had 55 acres of land. So
Yeah.
they had their own playground there. So if a situation like this would have happened, I would have been fine. Go out to play. They had dirt bikes and four-wheelers and bicycles and, they had it all. So, and we could fish, down at our pond and, just everything. So it's like, I kind of really feel for the moms that are like stuck in that house,
right.
With, what are we going to do? So, it's hard. It's hard. Finding activities for them to do is definitely a challenge.
Yeah,
so my hat's off to all the moms and dads out there that are homeschooling.
Yeah, exactly.
If I saw one,
we're good.
I am not a homeschool teacher. There's
Yeah.
a reason they went to school.
Oh my God. Oh my goodness. All right. So I'm gonna end the call right here because I think we're I don't even know how long we've been on. I don't even. All right. We're about to find out. But thank you for being my first guinea pig.
It was fun.
Who knows? Maybe people will love this format so much that it'll become the new trend.
Hey, we'll take it. Right?
We'll take it. All right. But
who knows? You'll have lots of phones next time.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly.
All right. Take care and thank you.
You have a great day.
All right. You too.
Bye.
Bye.